Hey guys, it's Dr. Roz.
And it's your man Kil again, still answering questions. So our next question, I have a male friend and we've been friends for over 10 years. I recently got married, and ever since my husband and I started dating, I explained to him that the relationship that I explained to him the relationship I have with Mike. I mean, we're basically as close as brothers and sisters, and he claimed in the past that he didn't have a problem with it. Now all of a sudden that we're married, he's telling me that it's not acceptable for a woman to be so close with another man who's not a husband. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's jealous of our relationship because me and Mark can't sit on the phone for hours at a time. And when we all get together, I do find myself spending more time with Mark than my husband. But it's always been that way. I always hear Kil saying that women trick men and then change when they get married. Well, Kil, I sure feel like I was tricked because now all of a sudden my relationship with Mark is a problem, and the relationship Mark and I, all of a sudden my relationship with Mark is a problem, and the relationship that we have, I'm not willing to give up for anything. So how do I get my husband to understand that?
Wow.
Well, first thing, I think there's a couple of things that I saw. I'll deal with the negative, I guess, first. That
her husband knows something that she doesn't. He's picked up on something for him to be against it.
Well, thank you for jumping in.
Oh, sorry. Were you gonna say that?
No.
Oh,
I wasn't
okay.
gonna say anything like that.
It was right here, and I had to get that out.
I think the key is all relationships sometimes have to change to some extent. Yeah. Two of my best friends, I introduced her to him. They're married now. And the first thing I did was sit down with my man and I asked him, I said, look, y'all are married now. Me and her were cool. We went to high school together, always been around each other. Mick is like my sister. It's Mick and Fish.
Yeah.
So she's like my sister. And I asked him, I said, now that y'all are married, do you want me to fall back from talking to her? And he was like, nah, B, you kick a lot of knowledge, so keep talking. Which is cool. So that was like one of the first questions I had to ask, because I understood you got to understand your place.
Yeah.
And that I understood that, me and Mick are best friends, but now you're my other best friend's wife. So I fall back.
The story is so cute.
Okay, I'm glad it's cute. So now I fall back. And I understood that. And if Fish would have said, nah, Kil, I really don't want you talking to her like that, I wouldn't have been offended, because that's now your wife.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, me and Mick don't talk half as much, a quarter as much as what we talked back in the day. And I mean, just because life and everything like that. So when you're like, oh, me and Mark can stay on the phone for hours at a time, I don't know why you and the boy are on the phone for hours at a time. Or when y'all go to get-togethers together, why you're spending more time with Mark than you're spending with him. I don't get that, because at the end of the day, I know you said at the end, that relationship isn't gonna, I'm not dead in that relationship for nobody. And I'm not necessarily saying to dead the relationship. I'm just saying that the relationship has to change. You're now married now. Your first priority isn't Mark. It's your husband. Now if you feel like you were tricked, I mean, you may have been tricked. I never sit here and say that men don't trick chicks. I just said I believe chicks trick men more, but I never sit back and say that men don't trick you. So at the end of the day, maybe he thought it was okay, but I just think that you and Mark can't have the same exact relationship. I understood coming into marriage, I have a lot of hobbies. I understood I'm not going to be able to spend 5 hours playing PlayStation no more. It may have to be 2 hours. I'm not going to spend 8 hours making a beat. I may have to spend 4 hours. You're going to have to make adjustments to hobbies, to everything else. So your relationship with this boy Mark ain't no different than anything else. You can't be on the phone. I don't want to come home and see T laying in bed on the phone with some other dude for 2 hours. Like,
laughing.
Like, nah, I'm not saying you dead that relationship, but it has to change somehow, some way. But what do you think?
And Mark actually needs to respect her husband. My husband has a female friend that he grew up with, and they literally are like brother and sister. Like, they argue like brother and sister and everything. Well, he and her siblings are his best friend as well. But when he talks to her, I probably talk to her more than he does, because she understood that she needed to become my friend as well. And so she and I are really cool, and she'll hit me up. You guys come over. Well, she's moved now, but she would invite us over, and she understood that he now has this wife. And I think your friend Mark needs to understand that. But I think more so for you, you need to respect your marriage. Right. And you need to respect your husband. You know, when I talk to Kil, you know, Kil may call me, like, Kil may be the only man that can call me, like, at 11 o'clock at night, and it'd be okay. Right? You know, because we're talking about marriage exposed, but he's always like, what's up with her? What's up with Frank? How's Frank? You know, so Frank, my husband doesn't feel threatened by Kil, because I would say that Kil is, you are, you know, my best male friend, basically. And his best female friend, you know, we're cool. So I think what needs to happen is that the two of them have to become friends if you want to keep this friendship in your life. But you can't be on the phone with this man, you know, for hours at a time, and you ain't talking to your husband, because I'm going to tell you what your husband thinking. Is she talking about me?
That's true. Because
what are you talking about with someone, and if you are not having these elaborate conversations with your husband, and let's be real, after a certain amount of time when you're married, you ain't talking all the time like that. Let's just be honest. It's not like, you know, I mean, if we can be honest, you're just not. And so you do the pleasantries. How was your day? How was your day? You know, or maybe if you're watching the show together, maybe having a conversation about that. But, you know, you're not sitting up hours on end talking to your spouse.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
You know, you're just not doing that. And so if you're giving this man that kind of access and time to you, then that is making your husband feel threatened.
Right.
And if there is nothing going on with you and this best friend, like,
no, I'm trying to jump in, but no, it's going to finish.
If there's nothing going on with you and this best friend, then he should be able to understand that, you know what, my husband comes first.
Right. And I think you make a good point of Frank's best friend becoming cool with you, because one of my closest friends,
I love her. She's good people.
Donnell, you know, I met my man Donnell through T.
Yeah.
That was her friend. You know, and through that now, me and Donnell, you know, are cool. So I do think.
Did you know I knew his sister-in-law?
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she went to school with my graduate school roommate.
Okay.
So I've known Danny since like 2000.
Okay. So, you know, I think that's the key. So it's like he may feel like the oddball out. Like if you and Mark get together and it's just you and Mark, and there's never no time for y'all don't incorporate him in there somehow, some way. And the thing is that you may feel like, well, look, you know, well, me and Mark need our time together. And that's fine. So when you and Mark hang out, y'all have y'all time. But if you're having to get together and there are people over and you're spending more time with Mark than your man, I mean, not only does that make your man feel some kind of way, don't think other people aren't looking like, yo, why
it's like Brown Sugar.
Yeah.
This the movie, Brown Sugar.
I hated that movie. You have to help me.
I like the movie, but like when I think it's the engagement party or something.
Okay.
I can't remember the episode, but it's some kind of party. And Tay and Sanaa are like in the kitchen, like having this conversation, and their spouses are just sitting back like, you know, looking crazy. Right. You know, I would never, ever put my husband in that situation.
So again, I don't think you have to dead your relationship with Mark. I think it just needs to change a little bit. You know, I don't know if Mark is cool with your man, but if not, they need to kind of have that relationship or something like that. I understand.
If the shoe was on the other foot.
Right. I just understand you firmly feeling like you got tricked, because you're right. I'm infamous about saying that. And maybe you did get tricked. And if you did, sorry, welcome to the Mickey Mouse Club. You got tricked and now you got to deal with it. It's the truth. I mean, maybe he did trick her. I'm trying to be honest. Maybe your dude did trick you. He never liked Mark and he said, screw it, I'm going to say what I got to say just to get her. And now that he got, you know, now that you his, now he flipping. So if you got tricked, I'm sorry. On the behalf of men everywhere, I'm sorry you got tricked. It happens. Now you just have to deal with that. But I think even if you did get tricked, the bigger picture is your relationship with the boy is going to have to change somehow, some way. And that's just the moral story. It's going to have to change. I don't think you have to give it up. But I always say in marriage, everything is a compromise. You're never going to be able to do everything the way you did as you were single. And if you are, thank your spouse for it. You know, if you can keep that relationship the way it is and he don't have a problem, give him a hug, because 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be 100% the way you wanted it. So, prayerfully, we answered your question. I'm your man, Kil.
And I am Dr. Rafa.
Keep it locked. Marriage Exposed. Questions and comments, marriageexposed@gmail.com. Check the site, marriage-exposed.com.